Mr. President, anybody who knows me well knows that I say this a lot, and that is that agriculture is the lifeblood of South Dakota and the lifeblood of our country. And farmers and ranchers are hard at work every single day to feed America and the world. But what I hear lately from farmers and ranchers is not good. Agricultural producers across the country have faced strong headwinds in recent years. Higher input costs, high interest rates, lower commodity prices, all leading to declining farm income year after year. Natural disasters have struck many of our farm regions, and the bird flu continues to ravage agriculture across the country. Of course, the last few years, the Biden administration was hardly much help. It imposed burdensome regulations like WOTUS, or Waters of the United States, that threatened to devastate the farm sector. The administration put expanding market access on the back burner while our agricultural trade deficit grew to record levels. And their profligate spending led to inflation that hit farmers and ranchers especially hard in the form of higher input costs. Meanwhile, Democrats here in Congress failed to prioritize a modernized farm bill to support agriculture through these challenges. And we are now more than a year past due for an updated farm bill. Mr. President, American farmers and ranchers deserve better, much better. And I expect things will be different under President Trump. I know that farmers and ranchers will have a friend in Brooke Rollins, the President's choice for Secretary of Agriculture. Mrs. Rollins grew up in the small agricultural town of Glen Rose, Texas. She spent summers working for her family on their farm in Minnesota, helping with their corn, potato, and soybean crops. She was a 4-H'er, an FFA state officer, and a barrel racer. And her 4 kids are keeping up the family's way of life showing cattle in Texas. After studying agriculture development at Texas A&M, Mrs. Rollins went to work for then Governor Rick Perry, where she worked on agricultural policy. She then continued her ag work by building up a Texas think tank empowering the voices of farmers, ranchers, and rural communities. Then she served in President Trump's first administration, first leading the Office of American Innovation, and then the Domestic Policy Council. Mr. President, Brooke Rollins is a policy wonk with a farmer's heart. She understands the needs of agriculture producers, and she knows how to deliver results. And she promises to get right to work after she is confirmed on 4 key priorities. First, getting disaster and economic aid out the door and into the hands of farmers. Second, getting the bird flu and other animal disease outbreaks under control. Third, getting the Farm Bill done. And finally, revitalizing the U.S. Department of Agriculture to focus on its core mission and put America and American agriculture first. Mr. President, I'm looking forward to working with Mrs. Rollins on these key priorities. Under this Republican majority, delivering a modernized farm bill is a priority. And I'm glad that Mrs. Rollins has pledged to work with Congress on one of the top farm bill needs, which is strengthening the farm safety net, which is essential to keeping existing operations going and encouraging the next generation of producers to get started. I was also pleased to hear Mrs. Rollins acknowledge the need to improve management of national forests. The Black Hills National Forest, among others across the country, has seen its timber industry decimated by bad management policies. So I look forward to working with USDA under Secretary Rollins to provide relief from the dire situation in western South Dakota. And I'm encouraged as well that she will prioritize getting disaster and economic assistance out the door. Last year, many parts of the country suffered from natural disasters, including South Dakota. And as I said, farmers and ranchers have suffered lower commodity prices and declining incomes. In December, Congress passed $31 billion in agricultural disaster and economic assistance. And we need to get that money into the hands of farmers and ranchers working to rebuild. Mr. President, Brooke Rollins understands the mission of USDA. She understands the day-to-day needs of America's farmers, and she has the expertise to deliver results. I trust that she will put America's farmers and ranchers first as Secretary of Agriculture, and I look forward to working with her in this role.